Hello, welcome to Passion Reading channel. In this video I'm going to test my Lovense toys function called button, and today I'm going to test the button called pulse. And to be more interesting, I will read the book Lady Chatterley's Lover while testing the toy. So let's start. If you wanna see more content with me, just click the link for my fansly in the description of this video. Why? What a dear she is, said Connie. And how she has grown. A big girl. A big girl! She had given it a shawl when it was born, and celluloid ducks for Christmas. There, Josephine. Who is that come to see you? Who is this Josephine? Lady Chatterley. You know Lady Chatterley, don't you? The queer, pert little mite gazed cheekily at Connie. Ladyships were still all the same to her. Come, will you come to me, said Connie to the baby. The baby didn't care one way or another, so Connie picked her up and held her in her lap. How warm and lovely it was to hold a child in one's lap, and the soft little arms, unconscious, cheeky little legs. I was just having a rough cup of tea all by myself. Luke has gone to the market, so I can have it when I like. Would you care for a cup, Lady Chatterley? I don't suppose it's what you're used to, but if you would. Connie would, though she didn't want to be reminded of what she was used to. There was a great relaying of the table and the best cups brought in and the best teapot. If only you wouldn't take any trouble, said Connie. But if Mrs. Flynn took no trouble, where was the fun? So Connie played with the child and was amused by its little female dauntless and got a deep, voluptuous pleasure out of its soft young warmth. Young life and so fearless because so defenseless, all the other people so narrow with fear. She had a cup of tea which was rather strong, and very good bread and butter and bottled damsons. Mrs. Flynn flushed and glowed and bridled with excitement, as if Connie were some gallant knight, and they had a real female chat, and both of them enjoyed it. It's a poor little tea, though, said Mrs. Flint. It's much nicer than at home, said Connie truthfully. Oh, said Mrs. Flint, not believing, of course, but at last Connie rose. I must go, she said. My husband has no idea where I am. He will be wondering all kinds of things. He will never think you are here, laughed Mrs. Flint excitedly. He will be sending the cry around. Goodbye, Josephine, said Connie, kissing the baby and ruffling its wispy hair. Mrs. Flint insisted on opening the locked and barred front door. Connie emerged in the farm's little front garden, shut in by a private hedge. There were 2 rows of auriculas by the path, very velvety and rich. Lovely auriculas, said Connie. Reckless, as Luke calls them, laughed Mrs. Flint. Have some. And eagerly she picked the velvet and primrose flowers. Enough, said Connie. They came to the little garden gate. Which way were you going? Asked Mrs. Flint. By the warren. Let me see. Oh yes, the cows are in the gin close, but they are not up yet. But the gate's locked, you will have to climb. I can climb, said Connie. Perhaps I can just go down the close with you. They went down the poor rabbit-beaten pasture Birds were whistling in wild evening triumph in the wood. A man was calling up the last calves, which trailed slowly over the path-worn pasture. "They are late milking tonight," said Mrs. Flint severely. "They know Luke won't be back till after dark." They came to the fence beyond which the young steer would bristle dance. There was a little gate, but it was locked. In the grass on the inside stood a bottle empty. There is the keeper's empty bottle for his milk," explained Mrs. Flint. "We bring it as far as here for him, and then he fetches it himself." "When?" said Connie. "Oh, any time he's around. Often in the morning. Well, goodbye, Lady Chatterley, and do come again." "It was so lovely having you." Connie climbed the fence into the narrow path between the bristling young fears. Mrs. Flint went running back across the pasture in a sunbonnet because she was really a school teacher. Constance didn't like this dense new part of the wood. It seemed gruesome and choking. She hurried on with her head down, thinking of the Flint's baby. It was a dear little thing, but it would be a bit bow-legged like its father. It showed already, but perhaps it would grow out of it. How warm and fulfilling somehow to have a baby, and how Mrs. Flint had showed it off. She had something anyhow that Connie hadn't got and apparently couldn't have. Yes, Mrs. Flint had flaunted her motherhood, and Connie had been just a little bit jealous. She couldn't help, so I tried to control my emotions as possible. I'm waiting for your comments. What do you think about such format of the video, and what do you think about my toy? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.